I found a love for me. Well, darling, just dive right in, follow my lead. Well, I found a girl, beautiful and sweet. Well, I never knew you were the someone waiting for me. 'Cause we were just kids when we fell in love, not knowing what it was. I will not give you up this time. Well, darling, just kiss me slow. Your heart is all I own, and in your eyes you're holding mine. Baby, I'm dancing in the dark with you between my arms, barefoot on the grass, listening to our favorite song. When you said you looked a mess, I whispered underneath my breath, but you heard it. Darling, you look perfect tonight. Well, I found a woman stronger than anyone I know. She shares my dreams. I hope that someday I'll share her home. I found a love to carry more than just my secrets, to carry love, to carry children of our own. We are still kids, but we're so in love, fighting against all odds. I know we'll be alright this time. Well, darling, just hold my hand, be my girl, I'll be your
We're going to say
man.
the blessing of
I see
the
my
food.
future.
Bow your heads, please. Thank you, Lord, for bringing all of us here today to celebrate Jim and Linda and what you brought together 50 years ago. We thank you for the both of them and for their love of each other and for the love they have for each person here tonight. May we all be grateful for our loved ones and not take our family and friends for granted, as we know those around us are a blessing and each one is a gift from you. Please take each person home safely tonight. Bless this food to the nourishment of our bodies and keep us all in good health. And in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Let's eat.
You know our love was meant to be the kind of love to last forever. And I want you here with me
Here, you want a pickle? Bread?
from tonight until the end of time. You should know everywhere I go, always on my mind, in my heart, in my soul. Baby, you're the meaning in my life. You're the inspiration. You bring feeling to my life. You're the inspiration.
We're so glad to be here, and you invited us to your 50th wedding anniversary. So y'all did a good job.
Happy 50th. Hope you have at least another 50.
We love y'all.
Love you.
Hi, I'm Mike, Megalito the Magnificent. I am Jim's oldest brother, and congratulations to Jim and Linda on 50 years. I know it wasn't easy for Linda, But again, congrats on the 50 years, and hopefully there'll be another 50 years. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. For those that don't know, I'm Amy. I'm the oldest.
I'm Emily. I'm the youngest.
And we thank every one of y'all for coming tonight. It means a lot. So Emily and I are going to say some things, and then we're going to move on from there. So bear with us. You can't hear me? Oh, okay. There you go.
Don't be afraid to speak up, okay?
Yeah, just
All right.
say it loud and proud. My fondest memories of growing up are my parents always creating a loving home. Moving around as much as we did had them moving away from family and friends from the very beginning. Each new home was made special. I have special memories from each and every home we had. One of those is my dad would get up every weekday morning, kiss us goodbye as he left, smelling of shaving cream and toothpaste. Now, Mom would always be there to make sure that we dressed right, hair looked good, so we could go to school. When we got home, we'd always have a snack, we could go play, but the house wasn't always perfect. A lot of the times, the furniture had been moved throughout the day to a different spot, but it was a home. So as I got older and got involved in sports and extra stuff, Mom would always take me and pick me up. There was one time, she fell asleep. I'm sure it was after moving all the furniture around in the house, and was late picking me up, which I was okay with that, except it was my birthday. So I was a little upset. It's funny now, but she still apologizes about that for this very day. Then came softball, and as most of you know, we played a lot of softball. We traveled all over the place with that. And they were both, sorry. But if for some reason, which was hardly ever, Dad couldn't make it to help us leave on Friday or whatever the case may be, Mom was always there to take us. They both encouraged me and my sister to take every win and every loss in stride. They were always there. When I chose not to do softball anymore, they supported me. They didn't pressure me in to keep going. It was my choice. But at that point in time, I still had to graduate from high school, which was touch and go. So I can remember Dad and I spending many nights learning math. As an engineer teaches someone math, there was crying involved, but that's okay. Because I can remember no other grade that I graduated with but that grade, and it was a B. And that was really good for me my senior year in high school. But he was a little hard, but that's the way he is. So we're going to fast forward a few years, and I had my girls. And telling them I was pregnant was the best phone call, because I told Mom I'm ready for my quilt. So Mom screamed, and Dad's like, what the heck? I don't understand what's going on. So Mom explained it to Dad, what the quilt reference meant, and then they were over the moon excited that they each get to hold a baby when I had them. So they were there for that birth. They have been there ever since, and they've been there for everything. From the time I was known about being in with my mom to now. When I hit my darkest moment, they were not there to scold me or demand I do something. They just gave me their love and support and told me that regardless of what I had done, they were there for me emotionally, financially, whatever I needed. When I walked through those doors to get out of my dark times, they were right beside me. And there, when I walked out of those same doors to begin my new chapter, they never gave up on me and will never let me face it alone. As with any parent-child relationship, there are highs and there are lows. And although I remember both, I always think, sorry, I'm shaking. I always think back to the highs and thank God that He gave me my mom and dad. They are about the best parents, grandparents, brother, sister, aunt, uncle, niece, nephew, daughter, son, and cousin anyone could ask for. I will always look up to them and strive to raise my family as I was raised, with love, respect, compassion, and support. Thank you, Mom and Dad, for being my great role models for my girls and I. Did you get that? I said girls and I. Y'all have a very special place in my heart. And there's a big part right here. And with the awesome turnout of family and friends tonight, y'all have a special place with each and every one of them. Thank you all again for joining us in this great celebration. Mom and Dad, I love you very much.
I have to follow that.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, so I also want to thank everyone for being here tonight. We all know why we're here. It's because Jim's paying, finally. Just kidding, Dad. I got to lighten it up a little bit.
Thank you.
No, we're here to celebrate 50 awesome years of marriage between Jim and Linda. We're all here because at some point in time in our lives, we know that if we called Jim and Linda, they would be there in whatever support or advice was needed. Jim's an engineer. He makes things that last. Same is true for his marriage. Linda was a homemaker for most of their marriage. A mostly thankless job. Anyone who's ever done that will know. But as any stay-at-home mom can attest to, no one notices the stuff that gets done day in and day out until it doesn't get done. Amy and I can attest and can assure you that our household, while not perfect, it ran very smoothly thanks to her. Mm-hmm. Growing up, the kid activities were were huge. Amy and I were supported in whatever we chose to do. Mm-hmm. Some of you remember Mom's old shirt, "Next to softball, I love my husband the best."
That's so true.
They taught me hard work and finishing what you start. They also gave me my sense of humor. Yay. Lots of laughs, jokes.
Sorry, I know. Oh, it's fine. I got it.
And harmless pranks were part of my childhood. John and I, my husband, John's my husband. John and I see characteristics in our kids that are a direct result of Jim and Linda's influence. I guess we're doing something right. Mom and Dad wanted to have a really big celebration to mark the big 5-0. But even Jim admits this shindig got a little out of hand. However, he drew the line at Swarovski crystal centerpieces. But they are beautiful. So to everyone who has ever lost money to Jim on the golf course or some other means, here's your chance to make it up. The bar's open. Thank you, everyone. Have a great night.
Thank you. So, we have a lot of fun things ahead, but without further ado, our honorees, Jim and Linda Hayes.
I have mine written down.
I know. I'll tell you whether you're right or not.
This is my engineering drawing. Well, Linda and I are honored that you have chosen to share this celebration with us, and we both truly cherish your love, support, and friendship through the years. So again, Linda and I thank you for coming. Now I'd like to give everyone an idea of what we have planned. Well, first, Linda and I are going to introduce our families, my side, her side, because we have to.
I want to.
Okay. You said you weren't going to say anything.
What
Then after a little dancing and visiting, we'll be cutting and serving an anniversary cake right over here. Then a bit later, you'll have the opportunity to make comments or share any humorous stories you have about us with the group. Some may call it a roasting. So, along the way, there may even be a surprise or two. We'll see. In any event, let's have some fun, dance a little, share a few laughs, and maybe even shed a couple of tears. Oh, and remember, the bar is open, so loosen up, people. So let's get John and the boys and the girls.
This is Emily's family, or the girls first. Aubrey and Ariel. They are almost 14, and we are dealing with it. Huh? What?
I'm Aubrey, and I'm Ariel.
Oh, okay.
Are y'all twins?
Yeah.
So you're womb mates?
What did he say? Oh. And this is Emily and her family.
I am Kira. I am Kyle. I am Caden.
I'm John.
Yeah, I just want to say a few words about the people here. We got Amy works for, see if I got this right, C3 Capital Partners, a commercial real estate company, and Emily and her husband John. They've been married for 15 years, and they both work for Lockheed Martin, and they live in South Lake, like 400 miles away. So, ready?
I'm going to introduce my family. So y'all get ready.
Oh, I gotta go with her.
Yep. This is my sister Gwen. She's been around my whole life. Still gonna be around my whole life. This is my aunt Delilah, right here. And this is Gwen's son Keith, right there. Oh, so Gwen's son Keith. Okay, now we have my cousins, and that's Mike Cuddy, Janet Cuddy, her husband Eddie. Well, not Cuddy, she's DeCoste. And Mark Cuddy. There we go. I'm losing it. Okay, and now Mark lives in Arkansas, and this is his children, and this is just Nick and Nick. All I could think of was your last name. Nick and Jennifer, and this is Corey and Mary Beth, and this is my other family over here. This is my cousin Gail Chandler Fisher. This is her husband Terry, and this is my cousin Hugh Folks. Oh no, it's all right. And so, any more?
If you're a...
Huh? And these are neighbors. These are friends. Okay. That's
Your
all.
hand up if you're related to Linda.
Okay,
His
did I
last
miss
chance.
anybody? Okay. It's going to take Jim a while. Let's go, Jim.
All right, here we go. Where is Joyce? Right here. This little lady is my maternal aunt. Look how beautiful she is. She has a daughter, Teresa, that's here with her husband. And y'all live in Grandview. And Joyce lives in Midlothian. Yes, I knew that. Now, here's the deal with Joyce. You're hard of hearing, aren't you? Here we go. All right, Joyce. You are the only person on the earth alive today that changed my diaper when I was a baby. But guess what? Nowadays, I change my own diaper.
When your parents moved out to near Waco when your dad was in the Army, and
Helen took me, your mother, Helen took me with them
Yes, I
to
know
take
who my
care
mother
of you. So, yes, you were my baby.
That's a pretty butt.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Just curious. Just curious.
Just curious.
Well, thank you for being here.
I was really glad to go because I love taking care of you.
Oh, wow. I was a good baby then.
Yes.
I don't know. Let's see. Mike. Now go to my brothers. Mike, right here. It's my oldest brother. He's 4.5 years older than me, but he looks 40.5 years older than me. Mike is, seriously, Mike has been having some back problems the last few years, and I really feel for you, brother. Oh, I'm sorry, 4.5, yeah. Two. I'm looking at Stan here. All right. Now, you're married to Carola, and y'all been married for 31 years, but Carola couldn't make it. Tell everybody, just a minute, tell everybody why Carola can't make it.
She became a great-grandmother today.
Does that mean that Carola's old? Okay. And y'all have just recently moved to Vernon, Texas. Is that right? All right. All right, Stan and Mary. Stan's my baby brother, 4.5 years younger than I am. And he has his, like Linda and I, he has two beautiful daughters. What you in there, son? Natalie and Christina. Natalie, now you're in the banking business, is that right? Okay, so you're in between assignments?
No, I work in fintech.
What the hell does that mean?
Tech. Just say tech.
Technology?
I sell software.
Wow. Dang, I didn't know that. All right, Christina is a teacher, and tell us what grade you teach.
5th grade.
In what school?
It's in Grapevine.
Okay, that's a good school district. Now, Stan, well, let me go. Mary, my beautiful little sister-in-law, she is works for Occidental Chemical, right? And Stan and Mary have been married for 37 years. And Stan has had a special job for many, many years. He works for Disco USA. So, Stanley, in a couple of sentences, tell us what the hell Disco USA is. It's not a dance company, right?
We make equipment that produce computer and cell phone chips.
No, wait a minute. I got written down here that it's a company that sells and installs precision cutting, grinding, and polishing machines for the semiconductor industry. Oh. Give us an idea of what one of those machines costs.
Oh, anywhere from $100,000 up to about $1.5 million.
And you work on those? Okay. Yeah, but you're going to retire soon, right? All right. Now we're coming to my baby sister. Oh, Gina. Gina is 20 years my junior, believe it or not. She's married to Mike. Mike has his own company, a roofing company. And I'll come back to y'all, but you have 4 children. Alyssa. Oh, here we go. Alyssa is a nurse, registered nurse, right, for Methodist system. And she's married to Zach Jones. He's a pharmaceutical representative for veterinarians. You're nodding. I got it right? Okay. I was going to say, if we owned a racehorse, would you be the guy we'd go to make it run faster? Okay. Just checking. Larry, keep that in mind. All right. So, who's next? Oh. No, I'm going to Bradley. Now, maybe you don't know, Gina has 4 children, but 3 of them are triplets. Bradley, Zach, and Josh aren't here. They're womb mates and like the same age, really? What? Say it again. From the womb to the tomb. from the womb to the tomb. All right, Bradley, you're a fireman for the Sherman, Texas Fire Department, and you're engaged to Rachel Matern, this beautiful lady right here. Rachel made the anniversary cake for us tonight. She's quite gifted. And y'all are going to be married on October 14th, is that right? Month from the day. So they're going to be the happy married couple. All right. Saving you for last. All right. This is Leah. This is Josh's wife. This is Josh. Josh couldn't make it, but Josh is a graduate of Texas A&M in accounting. He had a prior commitment, whatever. But, of course, Leah's here. And, Leah, you're a sixth grade teacher in Lake Dallas, is that right? All right, Leah, I got a little situation here for you. So a lot of people here, have never met Josh, and so I was wondering, if you could maybe describe him for us. Would you like a little help?
Sure.
Tall? Oh, tall.
Nerdy.
Handsome. No, it's a yes or a no question. Tall.
Yes.
What? Handsome.
Definitely.
Smart.
Mm-hmm.
The most wonderful person in the whole world.
Yes.
Leah, you just described me. All right, it gets worse. All right, Zach, you're next, buddy boy. And I like you. I won't say the best, but you can take a joke, right? Okay. You're a college graduate with a master's degree in kinesiology from Dallas Baptist University, and you're here with your friend, Kelsey. I said friend. I didn't say girlfriend, but she is a girl, so she's a girlfriend. We're not done. And Zach is quite the athlete, and at DBU he was a long-distance runner on the track team. Now, Zach, you don't know this, but I have contacts at DBU. In fact, the baseball coach at DBU for 27 years, he's here tonight, so I have contacts. And through my contacts, I was able to get a copy of your final exam in kinesiology. Who would have thunk it? Oh, wait a minute. And I'm looking at it now. Wait a minute. The exam consisted of only one question. Do you remember the question? Well, the question was, spell kinesiology. Don't you remember you passed that exam with 95%? Actually, you made 100. You spelled it right. Thanks for being here. I didn't hurt your feelings, did I? No. Okay. Because that was the zinger right there. I don't think I missed anybody, did I? Huh? Oh, it's on here. I just forgot. All right. Alyssa and Zach have been married for like 3-4 months. 3 years. They have a little girl, makes Gina a grandma. Her name is Briley, and she's like 13 months, 14? And she's the cutest thing. Is that right, Gina? You're not paying attention. We have a test later. How old is Briley? Well, she got it right. All right, that's my family.
For a while now, my parents have been going to the Burneybergs. Every Saturday, every Wednesday, all the time. So, unfortunately, at their original wedding, they were unable to have a solo dance. So, tonight, they will have their first solo dance as a married couple. I'm just kidding. As a retired married couple, how's that?
I found a love for me. Darling, just dive right in, follow my lead. I found a girl, beautiful and sweet. Well, I never knew you were the someone waiting for me. 'Cause we were just kids when we fell in love, not knowing what it was. I will not give you up this time. Darling, just kiss me slow. Your heart is all I own, and in your eyes you're holding mine. Baby, I'm dancing in the dark with you between my arms, barefoot on the grass, or listening to our favorite song. When you said you looked a mess, I whispered underneath my breath, but you heard it. Darling, you look perfect tonight. Well, I found a woman stronger than anyone I know. She shares my dreams. I hope that someday I'll share her home. I found a love to carry more than just my secrets, to carry love, to carry children of our own. We are still kids, but we're so in love, fighting against all odds. I know we'll be alright this time. Darling, just hold my hand, be my girl, I'll be your man. I see my future in your eyes. Baby, I'm dancing in the dark with you between my arms, or barefoot on the grass, or listening to our favorite song. I have faith in what I see. Now I know I have met an angel in person, and she looks perfect. I don't deserve this. You look perfect tonight.
Okay, so I was told that I needed to explain that a little bit better. So when we first started planning this party, I got sat down, and we had picked a date, we had picked a venue, and then my dad says, "We've been talking about the big D." And I'm going, "Really? We're planning an anniversary party, and y'all are talking the big D-I-V-O-R-C?" And he's like, "No, we're going dancing." And I was like, "What do you mean?" "Well, when we go to the Bernie Bergs, we're going dancing." And I'm like, "What?" So it took a minute, but I believe Dad would like to introduce what they've been secretly doing when they go to the Bernie Bergs. Sorry, we had to use you. It was like the easiest name we could come up with as fast as we come up with. So without further ado, would you like to explain?
About what?
What you just did.
Oh. Linda and I had one practice yesterday for like 5 minutes. No. Months ago, I told Linda we need to do a dance solo, and we found a lady to teach us. So we have an instructor, a choreographer, and I'm going to introduce this lady. She is basically a legend in the swing dance industry and also a multiple U.S. Open swing champion. So it's my honor, our choreographer and dance instructor, Beata Howe. How did I do? How did we do?
You rocked. You did great. It's been such a pleasure and an honor to work with Jim and Linda. And I'm still choked up because I've been helping them put this together for a few months, right? And sometimes I'd send them home with, we'd take video of what they needed to work on. And they'd go home and practice. And they'd come back and it'd be better. They really, they're great students. They're great students. Now, I must say, I think that's probably a little more due to Linda. Okay? Jim counts, he's the engineer. He's got to have the counts. It's all got to fit, and Linda feels it. Linda feels it, right? But they did some of their own choreography. They actually worked some stuff out. The rose, yes, the rose, yes. There is the rose, okay? And, but they've been a pleasure. It's been an honor to be invited here. And they have just been precious and a real bright light in my life the last few months. So I'm very proud of them.
Yeah. All right. That was surprise number one. There may be another. You'll have to wait and see. All right, Beata, you brought a friend, Willie, and will you honor us with some special dance? You want to do it now? Yeah, if you want to. How about the crowd? We'd like to see some professional dancing.
Well, my friends, the time has come to raise the roof and have some fun. Throw away the work to be done. Let the music play on. Everybody sing, everybody dance. Lose yourself in wild romance. We're going to party, caramba, fiesta, forever. Come on and sing along. We're going to party, caramba, fiesta, forever. Come on and sing along. All night long, all night, all night long, all night, all night long, all night, all night long. Oh, yeah. People dancing all in the street.
Is that all you got? That was not very good, excuse me. We can dance, but that was awful. Of course, I'm teasing.
I thought yours was pretty damn awesome.
Well, thank you. All right, right now. All right, now, Everybody dance and visit. The surprise is later, but we want y'all to dance. Come on, people. Party.
She walked out the door. He's got a full-hearted memory. He said, play a tango. I'd rather hear some blues or funky old soul. There's only one sure way to get me to go. Stop playing old time rock and roll. Call me a relic, call me what you will. Say I'm old fashioned, say I'm over the hill. Today's music ain't got the same soul. Don't believe me, just watch. 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 Hey, 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 oh!
Before we leave, let me tell y'all a little something. Uptown, funk you up. Uptown, funk you up. Uptown, funk you up. Uptown, funk you up. I said uptown, funk you up. Uptown, funk you up. Uptown, funk you up. Uptown, funk you up. Come on, dance, jump on it. If you said and flown it. If you freak dead and own it. Don't brag about it, come show me. Come on. And honey, I stay strong on your love all the time. I've looked for love in all the same old places. Found the bottom of the bottle's always dry. But when you pulled out your heart, I didn't waste it. 'Cause there's nothing like your love to get me high. You're as smooth as Tennessee whiskey. You're as sweet as strawberry wine. You're as warm as a glass of brandy. And honey, I stay stoned on your love all the time.
If I can have your attention, please. It's now time for comments, well wishes, and what else? Roasting. And complaints. All right, if somebody has something to say, they've got, well, I was going to say, if somebody has something to say, they have to come up here because in the U.S. justice system, we have a right to face our accuser.
Is it working? All right. Well, there's a lot of stories I can tell about Jim, but I don't know that about Linda, you know, all the thing, but we're not going to go through that. But like the dishwasher and the intercoastal canal and that kind of stories. Yeah, but 50 years, 1969, you know, back then that the gasoline was about 35 cents a gallon. You know, you could buy a new car for about $3,500, and Dow Jones was right 800. So things have changed. The #1 movie at that time was Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. Do you remember seeing that? I do. And the #1 song was the Beatles, and it was Get Back. And 69 was also the last year of their live performance. So also, they had Woodstock in 1969. So were you there? No. I don't remember seeing you there. Okay. Then that year, Nixon took over for Johnson in 69. So, well, 69, 50 years. Wow, what a year. Neil Armstrong walked on the moon, and Jim and Linda got married. So we met Jim and Linda about 2 years after they got married, worked for Mobil. And, well, we joined the bowling team at Bronco and Bolton. I don't know if we won many points or did good, but we had a lot of fun and a lot of laughter. And then a few years later, Mobil got to transferring us around, and we ended up in different places. And then in the early 80s, we ended up in Saudi Arabia together. So we had trips through London and Saudi Arabia. So then after Saudi Arabia, we all got back here to the Dallas area, and we made numerous road trips. I think we hit every casino in Louisiana and Mississippi. Not sure we made a lot of money, but had a lot of fun and a lot of laughter. So just wanted to say that continue for Jim and Linda, and to them, many more trips, many more laughter, and a lot more good times. Enjoy it, Jim. Linda.
Can't make any guarantees. All right, I'm Jim's sister, Gina, and I was just 3 years old when they got married, so I don't remember anything about their wedding. But on this video here is a picture of Jim holding me, and I happen to have it here. And it's just my favorite picture of Jim and I together when I was 3 years old. Now, my mother told me many years ago that I didn't want him to leave on his honeymoon. So I just clung on to him and didn't want him to go. And he was my Jimbo, and he was apparently pretty special to me. So I love that picture. Anyway, what I wrote in here, there's some funny things and there's some roasts and such. So bear with me a few minutes. He's my Jimbo. He's nobody else's. He's mine. I'm assuming the name Jimbo came between me and you, and nobody else has ever held that name. But I love him dearly. Linda has been a wonderful sister-in-law to me. And if we could, let's just recognize what Linda has gone through for 50 years. I mean, y'all really don't have to think about it too long to realize that she is quite a prize. I mean, God bless Linda Hayes. I mean, really, whoever can live with Jim for 50 years deserves a medal or something. But I love you. Yeah. When I was a teenager, Jim kidded me and made fun of me relentlessly. I was just telling some of my family about that. And there was a point when I was about 13 when I would just stay away from him. I think he sensed that and that I'd had enough of it. And after a year or two, he finally backed off. But here Linda has been living with him and dealing with all of his sarcasm and joking and his attitude. So you are one special lady, Linda, and perhaps that's the main reason we all love you so much. If he wasn't living with you, then he might have been giving the rest of us a harder time and might have been living with one of us. Wow, you told me this was a roast. I have many memorable moments with Jim and Linda as I was growing up, one of which was when Emily was born. Mom and Dad and I went down to the coast to be with them after Emily was born and to help with little Amy. I went with Jim to the hospital to pick up Linda and Emily, and it seemed like we were there like 10 hours waiting on her to get out of the hospital, but it probably wasn't that long. But later that evening, we go home, and Jim goes to get baby Emily in the nursery and carries her into the living room where we all were, me and Mom and Dad and Linda. And he carries her in, and as he enters the living room, he trips, and the baby goes flying across the living room. And we all jumped out of our seats screaming and trying to catch the poor little Emily that's laying on the floor, only to see that Jim had wickedly placed one of Amy's baby dolls in a blanket and pretended it was newborn Emily and scared the living daylights out of us. Linda was trying to recover from a very difficult delivery, if I so remember, which we won't go into. And she probably still is mad at Jim for that prank. And I really don't think my mom and dad ever forgave Jim for that. But now that we're looking back, it was hilarious. It's hilarious. Other fun memories are when they happened to be vacationing in Hawaii the same summer. I was there visiting a friend. We had arranged to meet. We met them at the beach and had the best day with him and Linda and the girls. And in 1983, Jim purchased a beautiful new Corvette. And if you know anything about me, I love Corvettes. And I loved that car. What'd you say, son? Still don't have one. I loved it. But he was one brave man, and he let me drive it, and I was only 17. Yes, you let me drive it. Now, you were in the passenger seat, but you did let me drive it. And he was especially brave because back when I was 4, I had inadvertently backed his beloved Volkswagen into a fence on Horn Street. So he was pretty brave to let me drive that Corvette. So he also took Dad for a ride in the Corvette. And me and Jim and Mike and Stan have a group text message where we're always kidding and sending stories and talking about this and that. And so Jim, this is the story that Jim had about that. I took Dad for a ride. I backed out and popped the clutch and burned rubber for about 30 feet. And Dad said, "Oh, Jim, don't do that." Now, you have to know Harold Hayes to know that that was his voice. "Oh, Jim, don't do that." Knowing that Dad was not wanting to draw attention to his car, he was probably a little embarrassed. Then Jim said he took the top off the vet and took Dad for a ride around Lakeside Park in Duncanville, and Dad smiled the whole time. So that's a little memory that I'm sure Dad carried with him. And when we lived in Duncanville, Jim and Linda and the girls always stayed with us when they came in from out of town for holidays and such. And I would help put the girls' Christmas gifts together. So Amy and Emily, you can thank me for the Little Pony stable because I put that together for you back then. And Jim and Linda, this is good, so listen up. Jim and Linda had a big van during the mid-'80s that they drove. Yes, we're telling the story. Yeah, we're getting to that. They had a big van during the mid-'80s. They drove it all over. And apparently one night they were staying with us and they went out with some friends and we kept the girls. Rumor has it, when they returned from their night out, they decided to sleep in the van in the driveway instead of coming in the house. However, I don't think much sleeping went on in our driveway that particular night. Let me tell you, neighbors talked about it for weeks. So embarrassing. And from what I understand, it was the very next day after that that those type of vans were then called the Good Time van. That's where it came from, because of Jim and Linda and their driveway rendezvous that night.
I'm so embarrassed.
Oh, please. Please. Okay, so fast forward to 1991 when our daddy was very sick and he nearly died. He was in the hospital over a month. It was a very difficult time for us all. Jim and Linda made sure they were here for Mom and Dad during that time. They were supportive and helpful with our parents, even if they lived far away. Daddy died in 1996, and Jim and Linda were an important part in helping Mom get things sorted out for the funeral, all the paperwork and such. And if I remember correctly, Jim did every paper for Mom and Dad during that time. In 2000, Jim and Linda retired, moved to a villa where they live now. And I'm very thankful for that, because it was at that time that Mother was struggling with living by herself, and she was taking care of Momo, our grandmother, who lived to be 98, and Mother was taking care of her. Mother was only 16 years younger than her own mother. But anyway, they wanted to move out here to help us with Mom. And that responsibility seemed to fall always on the daughter, but I was grateful that they were close by to help with Mom. We eventually moved Mom to independent living, then assisted living, and then nursing home care. But what I'm here to say is that Jim and Linda were there constantly with Mother. Jim took over Mom's finances and health care paperwork, her physical health care needs, such as buying her walkers and then that darn electric scooter that she seemed to use to run into other elderly people.
Over my toes.
Over Linda's toes. And Jim kept repairing that darn scooter. But anyway, Linda would fix Mom's hair, clean her clothes, and buy her gallons and gallons of
anti-wrinkle cream.
Anti-wrinkle cream. Whatever Mom wanted, she would call Linda, and Linda would go get it. If I told her, okay, I'll get it later, or Mom, you don't need any mascara, you have 10 things of mascara, okay, so then she called Linda, and Linda would go get it for her. When Mom had to recover at home after falls or during the holidays, they would temporarily move Mom into their house. It might be for a week or 2 or 3 or whatever. She would have her own room, and they would shuffle her to the shower and the bathroom and to the doctor appointments. I was still raising our 4 kids, so it was such a big help for them, to take over and take care of Mom. Mom loved Linda like her own daughter. And it was obvious that Linda felt the same way about Mom. I cannot thank you enough, Linda, for being so loving and kind and caring to our mother. She was your mom longer than she was mine. So thank you for that, Linda. Jim, thank you for keeping us laughing during Mom's last few years. Leave it to Jim to find the funny in every situation, even when the future looked bleak for Mom. I remember one time when she was staying at their house and she fell again. She fell all the time. Jim and I finally got her back in her chair, and it was just so heartbreaking that she kept falling. Jim and I looked at each other, so upset about her condition, wondering what to do with her. And then Jim laid his head in her lap, and he wept uncontrollably and unashamed in his mother's lap. He just couldn't be funny again at that time, because our class clown, our Jimbo, is human after all, and his mama was hurting. I will never, ever forget that moment. Jim and Linda were always there, always together, and always helping Mom. Jim and Linda have been great parents to Amy and Emily, and wonderful, supportive grandparents to all 5 of their grandchildren. My 4 kids love their Uncle Jim Bob, as they called him when they were little, and Aunt Linda. You just don't say one name without the other. It has always been Jim and Linda. They have been together nearly as long as I've been alive, and I love them so much. And I'm so grateful for their selfless love to our family. And I love you both.
Thank you. Okay.
I don't know how you top that.
Hi, my name is Molly Moore. I have met these 2 wonderful people through Linda and Larry Burningberg working together. Linda and I play bingo and bunco together, and I sit in Vegas and watch her sleep at a slot machine. She's very good at that. I have been privileged over the years to be included in the Super Bowl party that they have every year. One year it's at the Hayes' house, and one year it's at the Burningberg's house. I really prefer it being at the Burningberg's house because it's 10 minutes from my house instead of an hour and a half from my house, but that's okay. And when it's at Jim's house, the engineer does show up. Everything has got to be precise. It's got to be perfect. He has every game laid out that nobody else can understand but him, but that's okay. You know, we all kind of go along with his, whatever it is that he's doing, and we figure it out, and if we win money, we win money. If we don't ever know if we win money. He puts up this board, and you got to figure out if you won money or not, and it's kind of hard to do sometimes. Yeah, if your name is called, you take the money and run, you know, because that's about the only thing you can do. But I've been privileged to travel with them quite a bit. When Linda and Larry celebrated their 50th anniversary, the 6 of us, my husband was alive then, took a 3-week trip to Europe. We had a wonderful time. One of my favorite things is this one right here. Linda had just had knee surgery when we went. We were in Barcelona. And the Barcelona airport, if anybody's ever been in it, it's got escalators everywhere. Well, we all have enough luggage that we could probably stay 6 weeks without any problem. Linda's at the top of the stairs sending luggage down the escalator. Jim is off roaming somewhere. She has a knee injury, and he couldn't care less. He's out roaming somewhere, and she's sending luggage down the escalator just as fast as it'll go.
I was looking for the restroom.
You were probably looking for the bar. Yeah, okay. But anyway, we had such a wonderful time on that trip. We all got to know each other even better and love each other even more. And I love these 2 people. Happy anniversary and a bunch more. I love you.
Sweet. Appreciate it.
You ready for this?
I don't know.
My name is Nancy Meadows, and I have no prepared speech, so you better watch out. I've known Linda and Jimmy, and I'll refer to him as Jimmy because that's how I've always referred to him as. Right? Mm-hmm. There you go. We've known each other since the 70s. We had babies together. We did. We had babies together. My 2 sons, let's see, Dan and Amy are 3 weeks apart, and Emily and Andrew are 5 days apart. So I'm not exactly sure what you and Ron did, but, you know, there you go. You had some sort of like guys talk or something, I don't know, but anyway. Personally, I always thought Andrew was a result of Norway, but, you know, maybe not. Okay. Anyway, we go way back, and that's because of Mobile Pipeline. And there's quite a few people in this room who share that history. And I just want to say that Mobile Pipeline was good to us. It did move us around a lot, but it also brought us back together again a lot. And tonight is a really good example of that. I look across the room and I look at, for example, Stacy. Stacy and my husband, Ron, used to be dive buddies together because at that time, when we lived in Saudi Arabia together, we weren't allowed to like dive with a husband and wife. So I couldn't dive with Ron, and so I would dive with Larry, and Ron would dive with Stacy. So little things like that just keep coming back to you. But as far as Linda and Jim go, they have been friends for so long, and I just want to let you know that, well, first of all, they are truly proof that really nice, plus really grumpy works together for 50 years. Okay, so, yeah, that's right. Linda's the grumpy one. You're the no. Jim has mellowed out tremendously. I've always loved Jim dearly because he and I share a sense of sarcasm together. And, you know, there's always been this thing where, like, oh my God, Jim and Nancy are like sandpaper, but not really. I would not have survived my time in Dallas without Linda and Jim and having babies together. I would not have survived, my husband and I would not have survived in Saudi Arabia if it hadn't been for Linda and Jim. Linda and Jim are the type of people that you can come back to. I can be out of their lives for a year, 2 years, 3 years, come back, and time has not changed. And I know you probably have friends like that in your life, where you can come back and it's like you just step back into their lives and nothing has changed. And that's the way Jim and Linda have been in my life. And I think that their enduring relationship with each other has been an important part of almost everybody's lives in this room. And I want to thank them for their 50 years of marriage, because I think their 50 years of marriage have enriched, certainly have enriched my life, and they've enriched a lot of the lives of people in this room. So not only have they been happy together, mostly. I've known moments. I won't talk about them, but I have known moments. But I have a card, and that card says that you're never too old to hold hands. That's right. So there you go. Anyway, but I want to thank them for enriching my life and for enriching all of our lives, because that's what their 50 years have done for me, and I hope it's done for all of y'all. So thank you, Linda and Jim.
I'm Gwen, Linda's sister, Jim's sister-in-law. Most of the time, not the favorite sister-in-law, but sister-in-law. Fun fact, who knows how Jim and Linda met? Oh, there's a few. Hi, Mike.
He's getting in line.
Oh, okay.
Takes a while.
I didn't see many hands. Oh, okay. Well, you should know. You don't count. Jim and I went to high school together. We graduated in 1964 from Kimball High School. And a couple of years later, 3 years, I guess it was, February the 17th, 1967, my little sister had a car, a really cool car, a GTO, and she wanted to go cruising. For those people who do not know what cruising is, it's driving around and around at an establishment. You park. They call it loitering now. You can't do that anymore. They call it loitering. So Linda wanted to go cruising. So I'm the passenger. She's the driver. So we're out on Mockingbird at a hamburger place called Charcoals. It's long gone. And Jim was a passenger also in a car. And he saw me because he recognized me from school. But he really wanted to know who the babe was driving the car. Yeah. So that's how they met. I introduced them.
She was in high school.
I know. She was in high school. So I introduced Linda and Jim. So that is the best.
You've lived with it the rest of your life.
I have lived with it the rest of my life. Now, I said just recently that they would never make it. That was in year 49. So, but congratulations, Jim and Linda.
Thank you.
Whoops. Give me a second. I got it. I'm going to. Yeah, I'm going to sit right here.
You got 30 seconds.
I got as long as I want to. I'm your big brother, right?
But I can beat you up now.
Yeah, probably so. All right, can everybody hear me all right? You want to do this? Okay, thank you. All right. As I said, I'm Jim's biggest brother, and I remember when we were growing up that when he was little, he liked to take a baseball bat and just beat something with it to see what it was made of. He was real inquisitive. Well, I guess in a way that kind of helped him because he played baseball and was a pretty dadgum good baseball player. So swinging that bat when he was a kid helped him become a good baseball player. But also he was a good athlete, and he was a great in basketball as well as baseball. But one of my favorite stories about Jimbo is that when he was little, we lived in an area where kind of had a little bit of a hill, and he'd get at the top of that hill and play cowboy and Indians, and he'd act like he'd get shot. He'd get shot in this side. He'd get shot over here, and he'd get shot in the knee. He'd get shot 47 times before he'd fall down that hill. Then he'd get back up, back up to the top of the hill. He could do that all afternoon. So that always amazed me that he could do that. So the point I wanted to make was that he always lost those battles, but once he met Linda, he never lost another battle after that. He was always a winner after that. So, Linda, thank you. Thank you for taking care of Jimbo and being a great wife for him. And you didn't have to do it. And I didn't have to do it, so. So, again, congratulations on your 50th, all right? Okay.
That's all right. Worth the wait. Okay, so it's more fun to make fun of him, right? Can we all just agree on that? Okay. So you're free on this one, Mom. All right. So he loves pulling pranks on people, okay? So when I was a kid, he thought it would be hilarious to doctor up a lottery ticket that we had won just a ton of money, which was 5,000 whole dollars. So apparently, I was doing whatever. I was like 10. And my mom saw he was out in his car in the driveway for a really long time. And so apparently what he was doing is he had his little pin out, and he was changing a scratch off from, had two $5,000 things, and you had to have 3 to win, and the last one was a 500. Well, he took his cute little Bic pen, and he changed the 500 to a 5,000. Took a long time because he wanted it to look good. And he brought that in. He didn't talk to anybody else. He called for me. He called for me to come see him. He was like, "Looky what I got here." And I looked at that, and I screamed, "We won $5,000! We won $5,000!" And I start running around. And then he's like, "No, moron, look at it again." And he didn't call me a moron, but and I looked at it, and I could clearly tell at that point it was a pin, and I was not real happy with him. But I've had some payback since then. So who is his favorite baseball player? All right. No, sorry, it wasn't a. Sorry, Amy. So a long time ago, he received a tall cutout of Cal Ripken Jr. I believe it was from Keith. And so he loved this thing. It was set up in his card room at the house. It was really cool. And he thought it was fun to scare people with it, to make it look like it was just something. So this is true. This is true. So I don't think our kids were born yet. I don't even know if the girls were born yet. So we were over at their house for Christmas. And so Dad went to go take a shower. I looked at him and I said, "We're going to get him." So we went over. I went over to the card room. I carry Cal Ripken across the house over my head, and I go put him just inside the bathroom, where it wasn't in his shower or anything, but it was just where he would see it as soon as he came out. And we went back out into the living room, and we waited. And so we could hear the shower water turn off, and we waited. And then all of a sudden we hear, "Oh!" That was it. Yeah, so that was pretty fun. So we have lots of fun stories like that, but Cal Ripken's brought us lots of joy. So thanks, Keith. But anyway, that's it. So.
That's good. Nobody else? Really? But you like me.
Now I do. Linda and I have known each other since high school, best friends. Had lots of boyfriend troubles and happy times with boyfriends. We shared all of that. And we did a lot of the cruising around Keys Park that Gwen talked about. And then Jim came into the picture, and we've come to love him over the years. I don't have any stories to share, but I will say that Linda and Jim have lived all over the world, and we've always made an effort to stay in touch and remain friends. And I think that's a really big accomplishment, and I think a lot of that falls on their shoulders, and I think all of y'all probably know that. So I just want to tell you how much I love you. Thank you, dear.
I introduced Rhonda to her husband.
Okay. Now, really, this evening cannot end. Mr. Newmeyer, if you're not going to get up and say it, then I will. In all of your years at Mobile, this evening will not end without some mention of Corpus Christi Bay. I mean, now really.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Dear God. You sunk Paula's station wagon. Just saying. Do you have any response?
I did it.
Yes, indeed you did. I realize this is the second time I've been up here and you guys are looking at me like, oh my God, what has she been drinking? Okay, well, wine, but still. The evening could not end without a mention of Corpus Christi Bay. Really, come on.
Sucked his jacket out the back window that didn't open.
Okay, I rest my case. I'm done.
All right. It happened. So me and a guy get in my car. We go look for a leak. I point the car at the ship channel so we could get out, but I left the damn thing in drive. And as I exited the car, it takes off. I take off, but I'm not stopping no 3,000-pound car from going over the riprap, into the water, turning to the right, nose down, windshield wipers now work, hadn't worked all year, and then out of sight. So later that night, with a diver and emergency vehicles and the Coast Guard not allowing ship traffic because it was a frickin' hazard, the diver in the murky water says, "I think I see something." It's a green, no, it's a blue station wagon. And I said, "That's it." So he hooks a cable on the damn thing, and they got something to haul it up, and there it is. And I said, "Look, I didn't do nothing wrong." And so they opened the car, checked the gear shift, and it was in drive. Anyway, Linda was like 8 months pregnant with Emily, and the boss was there, J.T. Shaw, and Linda's there, I'm there, he's there, and I look at him and I says, "Am I going to lose my job?" And he said, "No, there's people done worse shit than that." I said, "Okay, good, because I need a job right now." All right, so that's the story. Yeah, that's enough of that.
Oh, no, John.
This is my son-in-law, no, number one son-in-law, actually.
I just want to say thank you to Jim and Linda. They've been the greatest in-laws anybody could ask for. Linda's always opened her heart, done special things for everybody, including me. So, and Jim's been tolerable. And try and leave it on a high note with telling some more jokes and more pranks. When Amy was just after she'd given birth to the twins, we went to go visit, and I found a good deal on this rental car. It was just like 20 minutes drive out of the way to get the rental car so we could drive all the way to Midland. And Linda, being so gracious, she said, "Well, instead of you leaving your house, going to get the rental car, coming back to your house to drop off your car and change the luggage and all this kind of stuff, how about I just drive out to your house and just drive you to the rental car place? That way you can just go straight to Midland." And so that's what happened. And then Jim was fully retired at this point, and he didn't really want to wake up early to go to the car rental place. And so he got roped into it, though, and he was not a very happy camper about it. And I think he was a little bit jealous that we were going to go see his grandkids without him. And so anyway, it was early, I think on a Saturday morning, and I can see Jim's woken up on the wrong side of the bed already. And so we were all driving together to the car rental place, and it's at this like a car body shop type thing. And so they had the mirrored windows that you couldn't see into. And so we're waiting in line, and I could just see Jim fuming in the car. And so I look over to Emily, and I said, "I'm going to go yank your dad's chain a little bit." And so I go out there, and I crouch down next to the car, and Jim rolls down the window, and I shoot a wink over at Linda because he's not going to look at me, and so I see a little bit of a smile on her face, and I said, "Well, Jim, this car rental thing won't be a good deal unless I get one with really good fuel economy, but they say it's not here. They're going to look one more time to see if it's here, but if it's not, they do have one in inventory. It's just all the way over in Weatherford, so we may need to drive to Weatherford." And Jim's face gets beet red. He's gripping the steering wheel. I see his knuckles turn white, and he's clenching his jaw, and he goes, "You've got to be kidding me." And I said, "Yeah, I'm kidding with you. They're getting the car right now, and I'll buy you breakfast." So, yeah. Anyway, so a small payback to all the pranks and jokes you pulled on me. So, but I really do love Jim and Linda. They're the greatest people anybody could ask to be involved with. So,
Got lucky twice, right? Yeah.
Okay, what's next?
You know he's got it written down.
Okay. Oh. Well, come on.
We were cruising.
We
were cruising one night out in DeSoto in a pickup truck, and you had 5 guys in the bed, and there were 3 of you in the front, and I think you were driving. It was the 4th of July.
It was.
And some dudes pulled up beside us and throw firecrackers in the bed of the truck. And we hollered, "Firecrackers!" Well, 2 guys on the tailgate stood up. And when they stood up, he guns it. Bam! And it was Donnie Moore and Tommy Talbert was laying on the street. And we didn't stop for a block. And they were down there rolling around on the ground. Anyway, that's a little short one. Oh, wait a minute. I got another little short one.
Last one. We got.
Oh, okay. I think when y'all got married and you were living in an apartment over off of
Loop 12.
Loop 12. And I don't know if it's an AIR. It's an alcohol-related incident. But I had a 69 Charger RT with 440. And Jimmy thought he could outrun it in his 125 Kawasaki.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, your story.
So I said, okay, we're not going to go a quarter of a mile because you're not going to beat me in a quarter of a mile. So we were just going to go about 4 blocks. Well, no, you were on your Kawasaki motorcycle. We get out on the street. Jimmy's way back here on that motorcycle. We did it again. He didn't believe it. Jimmy's way back here on his motorcycle. Well, then Mike says, "Hey, I can beat that on my feet."
For 100 feet or something.
Yeah, it was just a short distance. So he took his shoes off and got out there, and we took off. Mike was way back here. Anyway, that's all.
That's a pretty fast car. Here, hold that.
I found a love for me. Darling, just dive right in.
1, 2, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, rock. 5, 6, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, rock. 9, 10, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, rock. We're gonna rock around the clock tonight. What is that right song? Join me home. We'll have some fun when the clock strikes 1. We're gonna rock around the clock tonight. We're gonna rock, rock, rock till broad daylight. We're gonna rock around the clock tonight.
You love me so, and then twist again.
secluded place, a place where no one knows your face. A glass of wine, a vast embrace. It's called Hernando's Hideaway. Olé.
Let's give it up for James and Linda again, ladies and gentlemen. Let's give it up.